For decades, Rush fans believed that the band's music could never exist without the unmistakable drumming of Neil Peart. His intricate fills, precision, and compositional approach helped define songs like Tom Sawyer, YYZ, and La Villa Strangiato. After his passing in 2020, most fans assumed those songs would never be performed again in a true Rush setting. Then came Anika Nilles. When Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson decided to return to the stage for the 50-something tour, they faced an impossible challenge, finding someone capable of honoring Neil's legacy without simply copying him. Lee later explained that Nilles brought something fresh to the music, while still respecting what made the original performances so special. Immunimus. Guitar player +1. At first, many fans expected a faithful recreation of every drum part. But as rehearsals began, something unexpected happened. Anika wasn't trying to become Neil Peart. Instead, she started revealing dimensions of these songs that even longtime listeners hadn't noticed before. To understand what Anika Nilles brought to Rush's music, you first have to understand how different her musical background is from Neil Peart's. Peart was famous for treating the drum kit almost like an orchestra. Every fill, accent, and transition was carefully designed to serve the composition. His parts became so iconic that many fans can practically sing the drum fills from memory. Nilles comes from a different world. Long before playing with Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson, she built her reputation through modern fusion, advanced groove concepts, and highly expressive rhythmic phrasing. Her playing often emphasizes flow, feel, and subtle dynamics rather than strict replication. During rehearsals, that difference became impossible to ignore. Instead of reproducing every note exactly as it appeared on Rush records, Nilles focused on capturing the spirit of the songs. The major structures remained intact, but within those structures, she introduced tiny variations in touch, timing, and groove. The songs still sounded unmistakably like Rush, yet they breathed in a slightly different way. For Geddy and Alex, this turned out to be a major advantage. Rather than feeling trapped inside a museum piece, they suddenly found themselves reacting to the music in real time again. Familiar songs began to feel alive and unpredictable. But the most surprising change wasn't in the drum fills. What surprised Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson most wasn't Anika Nilles' technical ability. That part was never in doubt. Her reputation as one of the world's most respected drummers had already been established through years of performances, clinics, and recordings. The real surprise was the way she made the music feel. Neil Peart was famous for extraordinary precision. His performances were built around consistency, structure, and carefully crafted parts. That approach became a cornerstone of Rush's identity. Anika brought a different kind of energy. Her playing often carries a strong sense of interaction, as if she's having a conversation with the music in real time. Even when performing complex arrangements, she allows subtle shifts in touch and feel that create a more organic experience. As the songs came together, Geddy and Alex began hearing familiar material through a new lens. The drum parts still honored Neil's original framework, but they also introduced moments of freshness that naturally emerged from Anika's personality as a musician. This wasn't about improving on Neil Peart. No one was trying to do that. Instead, it was about discovering how these classic songs could continue to evolve when played by different artists. And that's where the story becomes even more interesting. Because the biggest thing Anika added wasn't a drum fill, a groove, or a technical trick. It was something far more important. Something that may have convinced Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson that these songs still had a future beyond the era in which they were created. As rehearsals progressed, Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson realized that Anika Nilles was contributing something they hadn't expected, a sense of discovery. For years, Rush's songs had been closely tied to the exact way the band performed them on stage. Neil Peart's arrangements were so detailed and recognizable that audiences often expected every note and fill to happen exactly as they remembered. Anika respected that history, but she wasn't trapped by it. Instead of treating the songs as untouchable artifacts, she approached them as living pieces of music. She preserved the essential rhythms and signature moments fans love, yet she brought a fresh perspective through her phrasing, dynamics, and musical instincts. That approach created an interesting effect. Geddy and Alex weren't simply revisiting old material, they were experiencing it again. Certain passages felt newly energized. Familiar transitions carried a different emotional weight. Even songs they had played countless times suddenly felt less predictable. In interviews, both musicians have emphasized that the goal was never to replace Neil Peart. His role in Rush is unique and impossible to duplicate. But they also recognized that moving forward required accepting that another drummer would naturally bring different strengths and influences. And that realization led to the most significant change of all. What Anika added wasn't just her drumming style. She helped transform the entire mindset behind performing Rush music in the post-Neil era, a shift that would reshape how Geddy and Alex viewed their future on stage. Ironically, the most important thing Anika Nilles brought to these songs may be something Neil Peart himself never intended: flexibility. Throughout Rush's career, Peart constantly refined his parts. Yet once songs became established, their live versions often settled into recognizable patterns. Fans came to expect certain fills, accents, and transitions almost exactly as they appeared on classic tours and recordings. Anika entered the music from a completely different perspective. She grew up admiring Rush, but she wasn't shaped by decades of performing those songs the same way. As a result, she could approach them with fresh ears. That fresh perspective reminded Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson that great music can survive interpretation. The strength of songs like Tom Sawyer, Limelight, and YYZ doesn't depend solely on one performance blueprint. Their power comes from the songwriting itself. The more they played together, the clearer that became. Anika wasn't changing the identity of the songs. She was proving that the material remained strong enough to support a new voice while still honoring its origins. For fans, this created a fascinating balance. They could still hear Neil's influence in every arrangement, yet they could also hear the music continuing to grow rather than remaining frozen in time. And that discovery led to a powerful conclusion, one that says as much about Neil Peart's legacy as it does about Anika Nilles' contribution. In the end, what Anika Nilles added to Rush songs wasn't a replacement for Neil Peart's vision. It was proof that his legacy was strong enough to inspire new interpretations. Neil built these songs with extraordinary care, creativity, and precision. His drumming helped turn Rush into one of rock's most respected bands, and those original performances remain the foundation of everything that followed. No drummer can replicate the experience of hearing Neil himself behind the kit. But Anika demonstrated something equally important. By bringing her own musical personality, she showed that these songs are more than collections of famous drum parts. They're living works of art, capable of connecting with audiences across generations. Her touch, feel, and modern approach revealed details and emotions that many listeners had never fully appreciated before. For Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson, that realization appears to have been transformative. Rather than treating Rush's catalog as something that belonged entirely to the past, they found a way to celebrate it in the present. The music could move forward without forgetting where it came from. And that's the true answer to our question. What Anika Nilles added to Rush songs that Neil Peart never intended wasn't a specific fill, groove, or technique. It was the possibility of renewal. She helped show that honoring a legacy doesn't always mean preserving it exactly as it was. Sometimes, the greatest tribute is allowing it to keep growing. In doing so, Anika didn't replace Neil Peart. She helped remind everyone why his music continues to matter. And perhaps that's the most Rush-like outcome of all: constant evolution, endless curiosity, and a refusal to stand still.